Okay, now Gershon asked me a question. A guy that comes from San Diego for Pesach to Israel, should he keep a second Seder? No. And there are many reasons why you should not, based on Rav Kook, the Balatanya, and my great-grandpa, B'nai Yissaschar. First of all, the answer that everyone gives, but I'm going back. So this was quoted to me by Rav Shalom Gold, who heard it, from no less Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Zechot Tzadik Livracha. A Jew came to him from Borough Park for Pesach, and he says, I'm here for Pesach, but I'm going back after Pesach. How many days should I keep Yontif? Oh. So that's what he asked him. So
he's going back
he's going back. No, after Pesach, he's going back. So he asked him. So a Jew answers a question. So Shlomo Zalman asked him, "You're here for Pesach. How could you even think of going back? Don't you believe Mashiach will come, and then you won't go back?" This is how Shlomo Zalman Auerbach answered him. How could you even think of going back? Where's your ani mamin, ani mamin? Mashiach will come. He can't come on the Yontif, he can come on the Chalamoid, right? Chalamoid he can come. So then you won't. So where's your belief? So this is how he answered him, okay? All right. Now, Rav Kook gave a very strong answer of why a Jew who comes here, no matter where he lives, if he's here, should only keep one day Yontif. The Gemara in Erevin says that Mashiach cannot come on Shabbos and Yontif.
Why not? Just a second.
I don't want to get into that. He can't come on Shabbos and Yontif.
He's a Navi. You can change the rules.
Mashiach cannot come on Shabbos. Gemara in Erevin says he cannot come on Shabbos and Yontif, but he can come when? On Chalamod. Rav Kook said, if you're coming from Borough Park or San Diego, and you're keeping a second day Yontif, you're preventing the Mashiach from coming. It's really Chalamoid, and you're saying that it's what?
It's Yontif.
It's Yontif, so you are preventing the Messiah from coming. Why do you want to do that? You hear? You hear Rav Kook?
Yeah, very good. You just missed the story about
same idea.
How you should treat your wife.
The same idea. Isvachak, he can come, but if you're saying it's Yontif, it's really Isvachak. You're again at the tail end of Yontif. 7 days of Pesach is over. I'm having a bagel, and you're still keeping Pesach, the 8th day. The Mashiach wants to come. And you are preventing him from coming. If you're saying that what? If you're saying that it's Yontif, you're preventing him from coming. You hear this?
Can I give you a present?
Thank you. Oh, no, okay. So, where was I? All right?
If you're keeping it, we're coming by
So we're not finished yet.
No.
We're just warming up. But some people say, don't confuse me with the facts. You're keeping Yontif a second day. There's a problem of Baal Tosef. You're adding on to the Torah. There's a problem of Bracha Levatala. You're making Kiddush, but it's really Chalamoid, or it's Vachandik already. There's a problem of Baal Tosef, adding on to the Torah. There's a problem of what? A Bracha Levatala. And there's a problem, loitis goydadu. I should have bought you the sheets. I wasn't talking about loitis goydadu. I made up. You're not allowed to make separate factions in
Jewish people,
causing divisions.
There's a problem of stupidity. We know the data is we're keeping your data. It's not there. That's the biggest problem.
Okay.
If you go to the Jerusalem Plaza on Yontif, you can see how many thousands, hundreds of people.
It's good for the hotels.
Right.
It's an extra day.
Double money.
Right. Light is going to do bracha lavatala, bal tosev. You're making kiddush. It's not yontif. What are you making kiddush for? You're making blessings in vain. You're saying shechiyanu again.
But they can't.
Wait a minute.
They can't say.
Don't confuse me with the facts. What? It's a nebuch on them. 1 minute. I'm not finished yet. The kicker, based on the Balatanya, which my Bnei Yissaschar, my grandfather, follows, the Balatanya, the Bnei Yissaschar says as follows: why do you keep 2 days of Yom Tiv in Borough Park? There's no Sveika de Yoimit today. We know exactly where you live. We know which day is Yom Tiv and which isn't. So Minhag Avotenu b'Yadenu. Okay. Minhag Avotenu b'Yadenu. But he gives a much more profound answer. Why You have to keep 2 days Yontiv in Poland.
Not here.
Meaning Avatenu be a Dane. He lived in Poland, right? But it doesn't hold water today. We know exactly. We have calendars today. So he explains as follows. The word moed in Hebrew means rendezvous. Whenever there's a moed, there's a rendezvous with God and the Jewish people. Much closer than on a regular Wednesday. So when a moed kicks in, there's an extra tremendous amount of Kedusha being showered on the earth. Poland, where he lived, is not able to contain that tremendous extra Kedusha of the Moed in one day. He gave an example like trying to put a 2-pound salami in a 1-pound bag. You ever try that? Put a 2-pound salami in a 1-pound bag? It just won't fit. So memela, what? You have to keep it a second day in Poland. But in Eretz Yisrael is holy enough to contain the Kedusha in one day. If you're keeping a second day in Eretz Yisrael, what are you saying? That Pisgat Zev is not holier than Poland? Chas v'sholom. That's what you're saying, chas v'sholom. You're saying Pisgat Zev is not able to contain the Kedusha in one day? Why do you want to compare Pisgat Zev to Borough Park or Poland or San Diego? How dare you do that? Okay? Now, all these arguments, no one has an answer for, but they just say, well, that's what the rabbi in Borough Park told me to do, because he don't want to lose customers, don't you see?
So I want to make sure you come back.
Oh. So he wants you to take your Golos mentality with you.
Oh.
It makes absolutely no sense. It's so ridiculous. I'm eating a bagel, and for him it's still matzah. Make any sense?
So why would Israeli,
Don't confuse me with the facts.
when Israeli goes there, though?
So when Israeli goes there, so that's why the Balatanya and my Bnei Yissaschar say, even though I live where? In Pisgat Zev, but I was in Yontiv in San Diego,
Just keep 2 days.
I have to keep 2 days. Because it doesn't matter where I live, it depends where I am. If I'm in San Diego, can't contain the Kedusha in one day. So what if I live in Pisgat Zev, so what? Shavuos, I was in San Diego, thanks to Yehuda. I had to keep a second day. Why? Because the Kedusha can't be contained in the first one day. It's 2-pound salami in a 1-pound bag.
So to keep it for Hesi, that's not the situation. That if I keep it for Hesi, you don't.
Okay, this is the Balatanya Shita, and this is Rav Kook Shita, and my great-grandpa, the Bnei Yissaschar Shita. It's very logical, but a lot of people don't want to, say, right? Location. Who said that? Location, right? Location. And it's very logical, right? The Talmud says in Gittin, the Rambam rules lahalacha that Chutz La'aretz is tamei. A Kohen is not allowed to live in Chutz La'aretz. How do they live in Baruch? I don't know. Chutz La'aretz, very fact, is tamei. It cannot contain the Kedusha in one day. You look in the last sif in the Yoredeya. The Mechaber wonders how Kohanim can live in Chutz La'aretz. He wonders.
What with Elat?
I don't know about a lot. I know Eretz Yisrael. I don't know.
Yeah, so what's this with the, you started
Israel, isn't it Israel? I don't know.
with the Kohanim.
How could a Kohen live in outside of Israel?
Yeah, no?
You look in the last Seif in Yeredeya, he raises the question. The Taz and the Shach, they tumul, the Shach himself was a Kohen, where did he live? In Poland. So he tumul's there.
What can you do?
But,
They have the options they have today.
Okay.
That's, we have to answer the question.
But to keep a second day when you're in Israel, what are you saying? That Israel is not holier than what? Than Chutz La'aretz? How dare you want to say that? But that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying by keeping a second day in Israel. That's what you're saying. It's terrible. People think they're doing the right thing, but they're verkrumpt. Mamish verkrumpt. They think they're being more frum. They're saying that Israel is not holier than Flatbush. Chas v'sholom. Chas v'sholom. But that's what they're saying. They're keeping a second day. Why are you doing that?
What
Why
is
you?
their reason?
Because the rabbi in Flatbush told him to do that.
But
That's
rabbi-
the reason.
but
Because the rabbi wants them to come back. He doesn't lose the customers.
but yet-
No, I don't know
Yeah, the
why.
reason.
They say there's tradition that they can't get rid of it. I mean,
What?
they give you all these nonsense stories.
Nonsensical.
I could never.
We're
figure
afraid
out.
that if you keep only one day, next year when you are in Borough Park, you'll also only want to keep one day.
I mean,
So that's why you should
so
make
it's
bracha
easy.
levatolis. You should be over baltoisiv because we're afraid because next year you won't go to Israel.
But when
And
it
hey,
comes-
last year I only kept one day. Now I'm in Teaneck. Maybe I only asked to keep only one day.
But they won't read the.
That's
they
what
won't read the blessing for the state of Israel because they're afraid to make an extra.
Stay.
bracha.
Yeah.
I
You
can't
hear
get
that?
it.
You hear what the man
Yeah.
just raised?
Bitte,
You hear,
ja, go.
That's what that's
you hear that? How verkrumpt. Verkrumpt.
Well, that's the shul I was in. That's why I left.
Making bracha levatolis, that doesn't bother them. Making shechiyanus again and kiddush for nothing, that doesn't bother them. But a prayer for the Medina, bracha levatula. Huh?
Or a prayer with a tzahal. Hey.
Verkrumpt. They say it's a bracha levatula. That's what they say.
Tell Yaakov he missed. Yaakov missed the word about getting married. So
You missed the word. But
about for it's pleasing your wife. You need to tell her.
should I repeat it?
I think you should repeat it.
Are we over 40? Oh, over 18?
Yeah,
What
kick
a-
him out first.
Oh, yeah.
I bought a
Let's
table.
go the other way now. What if you live in Israel and you go to Borough Park?
So I just said.
Can't get
So I
the
just
table.
said.
If you're in Israel, you go to
It doesn't matter where you live. It depends where you are for the Chag.
I
So
couldn't do anything.
you got to keep 2 days because if you are in Borough Park, you can't put a 2-pound salami in a 1-pound bag. Can you ever try it?
If you don't get it done, we'll just bring it
Listen,
back.
why don't you talk to my brother-in-law?
I don't know him.
He's a rabbi in Berlin.
I don't even know him. I don't know, but
No, he knows.
Chabad actually makes one day.
that's right because they follow Balatanya. That's a very logical shita. The Balatanya shita. When they are in Chutz La'aretz, they keep 2 days, and when they're in Israel, they keep 1 day. That's the Balatanya shita, and this is the explanation for it. But some people say, don't confuse me with the
Is
facts.
that on your
My
mother's
mind's
side or your
my-
father's side?
My father's side. B'nai Yisrael.
Okay, that's
My father's side. Okay? Page 198. Avram, page 198. This one's for you. You come from remote, right? Avram, you come from remote?
Yeah.
It's pretty remote, no?
Yeah.
So you spend a long time traveling, right? What? So is that all the time that we spend on the bus, David, or stuck in traffic, coming to the yeshiva or going, maybe that's dead time. Maybe it's just a waste of time. I'm stuck in traffic. You know, yesterday coming here and going here, it just takes a long time. So maybe it's wasted time, right? So look at this.
Maybe don't go home.
So look at page 198. Again, this is the reading the maftir. Page 198, Pasuk Chav Ches. Vayelchu vayasu b'nei Yisrael kasher tziva Hashem et Moshe v'Aaron kein asu. So Moses commanded them about the Korban Pesach, right? It says Vayelchu, they went. Vayasu, and they did. Whatever Hashem commanded them, they did. So what's bothering Rashi? What do we need to know? Vayelchu vayasu. I mean, they went. What do you know they went? They went, David, they went to purchase a lamb, right? They went to Machne Yehuda. I have to know that. Just say they did the mitzvah of Korban Pesach. Why does the Torah have to tell me, Vayelchu, they went? They went to purchase the lamb, and Vayasu, and they did. That's bothering Rashi in Pasuk Chav Ches on 198. You see that? Yeah. Okay. What does Rashi say? Vayelchu Vayasu. You see the second Rashi there on the right column? What's bothering Rashi? When did they went? They did the Korban Pesach. Af halicha mana hakosuf. Just the fact taking the Eged bus to the market to do the mitzvah, just to go to do a mitzvah, the Torah counts that liten schar lahalicha v'schar la'asiyah. Not only we get credit for studying Torah or doing any mitzvah, but the trip, the Eged or the light rail, the light rail. It's amazing, Rashi. You have to put it in your pocket and take it home. Mitzvah tzrichas kavana. Traveling to do a mitzvah is a separate reward. So after 120, we get up there. Right? And we say God gave us, I studied in the Aspen Shiva from 11 to 1. That's 2 hours a day, right, Avram? So God said, hey, wait a minute, you studied 4 hours a day. But hey, I studied from 11 to 1. Why you give me credit? I'll take it, but why you give me credit for 4 hours? What's God going to say? Well, Rashi says, the hour traveling to the yeshiva and the hour traveling back, that's also reward. Who loves you, baby? Liten schal halicha v'schal asiyah. This week's parsha. To give a separate reward, David, for traveling and a separate reward for actually doing the mitzvah. And we have to know that mitzvah is trichas kavana. So traveling on your buggy, that's a separate mitzvah.
I had you also get a mitzvah. Is that what you say?
Well, that's living in Israel. But he will talk about the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. That's a separate issue. Right? He would say,
So you get double
Rav, what's his name? Rav Bullman, Zechus HaGevrocha. He first came to Israel. He would walk Dalet Amos and say, mitzvah, Nacha mitzvah, Rav Bullman, Zechus HaGevrocha, Rosh Shiva of, told me this. From Or Sameach. What a tzaddik he was. He said, Nacha mitzvah, but he stopped doing it, he said, because people looked at him funny. But he said, why did I stop doing it?
You get more reward.
Every Dalet Amos you walk in Israel's Nacha mitzvah. Can you imagine the joggers, David? The joggers. But mitzvah chichas kavana. It's a nebuchadnezzar. You should say mitzvah as they're jogging.
That's why they had that marathon.
That's right. You see that? You have to say mitzvah, nacha mitzvah. Now, page 201, pasuk chet. Where does the word Haggadah come from? 201, pasuk chet. 201, pasuk chet.
He got it.
There's the word Haggadah come from. You see that, Yaakov? You have a book? 201 Pasuk Chet. V'gada telebincha b'yoymahu leimor ba'avur zeh osa Hashem li b'b'tzeisim mitzrayim. The word Haggadah. To tell over. So it's a mitzvah from the Torah. V'gada telebincha. It's a mitzvah from the Torah. On Pesach night, you tell over to your children in the Exodus. And if you don't have children, it's a mitzvah even to talk to yourself, right? To speak about the Exodus. To speak about the Exodus, right? We got it to Labincha.
Your bus driver.
Right.
Hello, Wall. Hello, Wall. Talk to Wall. Dress the Wall.
Mitzvah Sipol Yitzias Mitzrayim. Mitzvah 21 on the mitzvah count. Mitzvah 21 on the mitzvah count based on page 201, Pasuk Chet. Mitzvah 21 on the mitzvah count. Okay. You got it to Labincha. That's the word Haggadah. You see that?
You should tell your son on that day.
You should tell your son, it doesn't say son, it's your child. On that day, Babu Zeh, because of this, Osa Hashem li, did God do for me, b'tzeistim Mitzrayim, when I went out of Egypt. See, Avram, we got to tell Labincha, it's mitzvah 21 in the mitzvah count. So what's strange about this mitzvah? Before you do a mitzvah, you make a bracha. Why is there no bracha on the mitzvah of Igara to Labincha?
Yeah, it's between man to man. Maybe the boy say, I don't know reason, or he fell asleep.
So Ephraim is saying that perhaps Igara to Labincha is a mitzvah like tzedakah.
Yeah.
Do you make a bracha on giving tzedakah? You make a bracha on visiting a sick guy in the hospital? Mitzvah in Odom Lechavero, you don't make a bracha. So Ephraim is saying, you got to Labincha, you have to tell your child. Maybe he's not interested. So it's a bracha levatala, right? That's what you're saying. But if you don't have a child, there's still a mitzvah to talk even to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So you're yourself, you're not interested. Huh?
That's a good thing.
Right now, you hear the questions. Why is there no bracha HaMitzvah? Before you read Hallel, you make a bracha. Asher Kirishonim Mitzvah Tzivanu Hallel. So why don't you make a bracha? Asher Kirishonim Mitzvah Tzivanu. We got it to Labincha. Al Sipay Tzivanu. You make a bracha Mitzvah Hallel, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you make a bracha before you begin reading the Haggadah to your children? So Ephraim gave an answer. Perhaps we got it to Labincha is a mitzvah like tzedakah, or a mitzvah like what? Keep it all v'aim. Ben Odom Lechavero, the rabbis were not metaken bracha because you have to interact with the other guy. Maybe the other guy will what? change his mind.
That's why there's no bracha before
Therefore,
sex.
there's no bracha before sex. It's not a joke. Rabbi Yaakov Emden says that. Pruvu, the first mitzvah in the Torah is to be intimate with your wife. And Rabbi Yaakov Emden says there's no bracha because she might say, not tonight, I have a headache. And the bracha has to be made a minute before the act. Right? So you make the bracha, and all of a sudden she says, oh, I just got a splitting headache. Sorry. So you're left with a bracha levatala. Hello? And therefore, there's no bracha ben odom lechaveiro mitzvah because the other guy might refuse, and the bracha has to be done a second before. Too early or too late is a bracha levatala. So the Chazal were not metakein bracha ben odom lechaveiro. Because a bracha is only the Rabbanon. Taking God's name in vain is a Issa Doraita of the Ten Commandments. Loitita, loisisa Shem Lakecha Lashav. The Rambam says making a bracha levatala is you're transgressing one of the Ten Commandments. Do not take God's name in vain. So the rabbis were afraid that the wife would have a headache, or the son would be, or the son would say, Dad, I'm out to lunch. I'm not interested. Right? Or I gave a guy tzedakah, he threw the shekel back at me. It was a half shekel, hit me in the head. So it did happen in the Gula. I gave him a half a shekel, he threw it back at me. Boing. It's a good thing I have a hard head. So therefore, the rabbis didn't want you to have a bracha levatala, so they were not metakein a bracha. Very good, Ephraim, okay?
Yeah, but what about to tell yourself?
But tell yourself, you're not interested either, what? You're not interested either.
You stumped me. That's a very good argument, huh?
Even if there's nobody there, there's still a mitzvah in the foxholes. There's still a mitzvah to talk to yourself. You got it to Lebincha as a mitzvah to say over the story of the Exodus. Okay? So, based on this pasuk, right? Based on this pasuk, you got it to Lebincha, B'yomahu, on which day? That's Pesach night, right? So what do you tell him? Ba'avur zeh, because of this, Asa Hashem li b'tzeisim v'mitzrayim. Because of this did God do for me when He took me out of Egypt. What does that mean? Because of this. Look at Rashi Chet. Ba'avur zeh. Ba'avur she'akayim mitzvotav. You know why God took me out of Egypt? That I should keep His mitzvahs. Kigon Pesach Matzo Morer Halalu. Right? To do the mitzvah Pesach Matzah Morer. Matzah and Mara, halalu, these. So you're supposed to point. The word zeh, the word zeh means to point. One second. So that's why to say that we point. Don't we point, Avram, to the Pesach, Matzah, and Mara? Because wherever it says the word zeh, it means to point with your finger in biblical Hebrew. Okay? Asa Hashem li. Right? Bavur zeh. Asa Hashem li.
Got the keys.
Right?
Everything was fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, listen to this. You just came to hear this. This is my Rebbe Rapam Zatzal. Look at Rashi. You have to fasten your seatbelt. Look at Rashi very carefully. Osa Hashem li. Look at the next Rashi. Osa Hashem li. Ramas tshuva leben Rasha. Rashi had the Agada. You know that? This is this is the answer to the wicked son. Osa Hashem li, God did for me. God did for me. L'aylacha, but not for you. She'ilu ayitu sham, if you were over there, l'ayitu kedai, you would not be redeemed. Right? So Rashi had our Agada, right, Abraham?
Yeah, the Agada's done already, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't.
She'ilu ayitu sham, if he was there, he would not be what? Yeah. That's how you talk to someone at the Seder.
Yeah.
Not very nice.
Yeah,
So my Rebbe Rapam said, listen to this. That's how you talk? Yeah. Me, but not you. That's how you talk to someone at the Seder.
Drive him further away.
Either you to shum. Look what the answer is. If he was there 3,325 years ago, he wouldn't be redeemed. Thank God you're not there, you're now. There, we didn't have the Torah yet. So there you would have been lost. Sham! Thank God you're not Sham, you're Po. They, Taka, were lost. Why were 80% lost? They had no anchor. They had no lifesaver, a form of living. What was a lifesaver, Avram? The Torah, they didn't have it. Thank God, Mr. Russia, you're not living Sham. You're here. You're not lost. That's the true answer. Did you know that?
You had been there.
Either you to Sham, if you were living there, they didn't have the Torah yet. Memela, they were lost. You're not teasing him. You have to know what you're saying. Baruch Hashem, you're not Sham, you're Po. And because you have the Torah, you're never going to be lost. Fashtei. Either you to Sham.
Have you been in the lecture from Rav Shlomo yesterday? He speaks about exactly the issue, how you speak Laila Seder to the children. That's his whole speech about yesterday.
That's right. Not to turn them off.
How to speak to the Rasha.
Lubavitcher Rebbe says, why do you open up the door for the fifth cup? Why do you open the door? Leon Novi can come through the chimney too.
To let in
The fifth son who doesn't even show up, Lubavitcher Rebbe said that. Even the son who doesn't bother to show up, you have to open up the door for him and invite him in. Lubavitcher Rebbe said that. Leon Novi doesn't need a door. He can go through the chimney. Right? That's where they got the idea, right? Right, Avins, they got the idea, yeah.
Who's that? Who got what idea?
Santa Claus.
Coming down the chimney.
Oh, they got that from us also?
Leon Novi. What?
Sure.
Elio Novi came down a chimney?
Well,
No, you don't have to open the door.
Was it a stocking for presents for Hanukkah? First time I heard that.
now, page 201, Pasuk Dalid. Hayom atem yotzim b'chodesh ha'aviv. You know it by heart, right? Page 201, Pasuk Dalit. Hayom, today atem yotzim. Today you go out b'chodesh ha'aviv. Aviv.
Yes.
The name of your stepson, Aviv. Today you go out on the month of springtime. So what's bothering Rashi,
Well, first of
Gershom,
all,
is when I can look out the window and I know when I'm leaving. And what are you telling when you just look out the window? I know when I left. I'm leaving Cairo. I look out the window. I see it's springtime. I have a calendar. Why does the Torah have to tell me that I'm leaving B'chodesh Aviv? You hear what's bothering Rashi? This is also Seder night talk. Okay, you hear what's bothering Rashi, Ephraim? I have a calendar, and we looked out the window. We knew we're leaving in springtime. So
Everybody knows you are in springtime.
So why does the Torah have to say you are leaving B'chodesh Aviv? Look at Rashi Dalid. Rashi makes the question so succinctly. Avron, he say that so succinctly. You want to read it? The Chodesh Aviv, no?
Chodesh Aviv, yeah.
V'chi lo yodin be'ezeh chodesh yatzu.
They don't know which
Didn't
ones
they
went.
know which chodesh they're what?
They went out.
They went out. Check the calendar. Elakach omalem. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu says. Ru'u chesed shegemalchem. Think about the extra chesed that God did to you. Shohaiti eschem b'chodesh hu kosher lotzet. He took you out in the perfect month for traveling in the desert. Lo chama v'lo tzina v'lo geshamim.
Not too hot.
Here, God couldn't have taken it out in December. We would have rushed any time. But God shows an extra chesed. He took us out on the perfect month to March. Not too hot, not too cold, no rainy season in the Middle East. April. You hear, David? So what's the message?
April showers
You have to-
and May flowers.
Thank God, not just for the big ticket items. You have to thank God for everything. Even the month that He took us out, don't just thank Him for splitting of the Red Sea and all the great miracles. For that, of course, but even for what we consider a small favor, right? Thank God for small favors. Can you move the bench in, please? This is the message that Rashi is saying, that Hashem did an extra chesed when He want, even,
to send us
and we
out
have
in-
to
in
think
springtime.
about that, to appreciate all that God does, not just the super duper razzle dazzle. The chesed habore, we have a beautiful day. Don't take it for granted. What a difference a day makes. Huh? What a beautiful day. You shouldn't have taken my coat. Appreciate it. Thank the God. That's what the Torah is teaching over here. Don't take anything in life for granted. What?
Isn't that also the directions for keeping the calendar, B'chodesh Aviv? The same pasuk?
No, that's found in page. No, that's page.
Does it work for that to say that Pesach is always going to be in the V?
No, the pasuk that keep the calendar. That's on page 194, pasuk bet. That's on 194, pasuk bet. That's the mitzvah to make Nisan the first month, not January. See that, Gabriel? You want to read that verse? 194, pasuk bet.
Chodesh
Chodesh hazeh lachem rosh hadashim rishon hu lachem lachodeshei Hashanim.
Right? This month shall be for you the first of all months, the first months of all the months. This is a mitzvah not to count January the first month. I told you, Chassam Sofer says when you're writing a document, you don't write today 3/26. You're supposed to write March 26. Because if you do, you're mevatel mitzvah saseh. Because if Nisan is the first month, then March is not the third month. What's the third month? Sivan, right? So you can't write 3/26 today. Chassam Sofer is a big man. I don't know. I'm going to hold it.
And Israel, you write 26 March 1st anyway.
So you write March, don't write 3. Versteh. Or better still, write the Hebrew date. But if you want to write the Goyish date, don't write 3/26 today. Because today's not 3. If Nisan is 1, what's 3? Sivan. So the Chassam Sofer says, La halacha, when you're writing a document, if you don't want to write the Hebrew, at least don't write a 3 today. Write March. Because today ain't 3. If Nisan is 1, then what's 3? Sivan. Versteh. Okay? That's halacha l'mais according to Chassam Sofer, one of the greatest poskim in the 1800s, right? Mm-hmm.
This pasuk we can combine with the first Rashi in Bereshit.
Yeah, Rashi's the Torah should have began with this pasuk.
With this pasuk,
the Torah should have. It's the first mitzvah given to Am Yisrael as a nation. Rejuvenate yourself, renew yourself, right? The power over time. Remember we said, why is this the first mitzvah? Because what's the clearest difference between a slave and a free person? A slave has no time. The slave time belongs to his master.
Except for us,
Achodesh hazeh lochem. I'm giving you the gift of time. Now that you're a ben chayrin, now it's yours. Before, time wasn't yours. It belonged to Tutankhamen. Now, Avram Mitzlachem makes something up. Therefore, it's the first mitzvah, says the Forno, because it's the clear difference between an Evet and a ben chayrin. Right? An Evet has no time, no concept of time.
9 to 5 job.
Chodesh hazeh lochem. Now I'm giving you the gift of time, make something of it, okay? Which you couldn't do when you were what?
A slave.
A slave. Versteh, you couldn't do that. Okay? Okay. Interesting. Any questions about Pesach? There should be a lot of questions about Pesach. We learn about the mitzvah. You can point a shliach from Shchitas HaPesach. We spoke about that. Nachon? V'shachtu osu kol kahal adas Yisrael. Right? Now, Gabriel, the Pesach was shechted on the 14th day. But we had to keep it 4 days. Why? Look at Pasuk Vav. You see that, Gershon? Pasuk Vav on 194. V'oy lechem lemishmeret. It should be a watching. Ad arba osa yom chodesh hazeh. You had to take it on the 10th day, right? And keep it until the 14th day, then shechted, right? So why do you have to keep it 4 days for? Look at Rashi Vav. Rashi Vav on the left column, 194. You have that? V'oy lechem lemishmeret. Zeh loshen bikur. What does bikur mean? Examination. Takes 4 days to examine. Mary had a little lamb. David takes 4 days to examine a lamb for a mum. Shetoin bikur mum arba yomim koidim shchita.
Kodem shchita, yeah.
You have to take it 4 days to examine. It shouldn't have any physical defect.
Yeah.
How long does it take to examine a lamb? 10 minutes, a half hour, I don't know. The mukya has no holes in the eyes, no holes in the ears.
Yeah.
How long can it take already? 4 days. So that's puzzling Rashi. You hear? Why did God say, take it 4 days before what?
The shchita, huh?
Shita. So Rashi quotes the Medrash. You with me? Ma'asher lo tziva came b'Pesach dorot. All the other carbons, you didn't have to take 4 days early.
You make a check.
Right? Hoya Masya ben Choresh. You see the first word on the line is Masya. You have it?
Masya.
Now look inside.
Masya.
Masya ben Choresh in the Mechilta. All right, Omer. There's a pasuk in Yecheskel. Ve'ever alayich, and I passed by ve'erech. God says, and I saw you. V'hine itech eit dodim. It was a time of love. I'm in the mood for love. Yudah.
Yes.
God says, I passed you by. When did I pass by? In Egypt, and I saw it's the time for love. Higia shvua. You see that?
Higia shvua.
Shenishbati la'Avraham she'egel et banav. It came time to keep my oath that I swore to Abraham to redeem his children. V'lohoya biyada mitzvot. And they didn't have any mitzvot. So to give us a welfare check, we would have no self-respect for ourselves. V'lohoya biyada mitzvot l'sasek bahem v'eshugalu shenema vat eram ve'erya. God says you are naked and bare. What do you mean naked and bare?
That's why he's in the mood for love.
Right? Vat eram ve'erya. Ezekiel. Right? God tells Ezekiel, it's a time of love, and you Jews were naked and bare. You had no mitzvot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a welfare check. You want to have self-respect for yourself. You sit on the stoop and drink beer and play dominoes and wait for the welfare check. God loves us too much for that. So v'nosan lahem shtei mitzvot. So therefore God gave us, even though we were memtesh shari tuma, Gabriel, God gave us 2 mitzvos. Dam Pesach v'dam Mila. He gave us the mitzvah of the blood of the Pesach and the mitzvah of what?
Pesach.
Circumcision.
Yeah.
Dam Mila.
Mila.
Shemalu ba'ota halayla.
Mila.
They circumcised themselves on that night. Shenema misposeses b'damayich. God says, I saw you wallowing in your bloods. Bloods. Why plural? B'shnei damim. Why shnei damim?
Ah, damim.
Dam Mila and Dam Pesach. Here is Gershom. So the Talmud says that we also circumcised ourselves on that night. You listening?
How do we travel?
Or
Sunday.
which night?
Which night?
So I should get it in 7 days.
Third day's supposed to be the one.
Which
day.
night?
It's 2 different nights.
The night of the 10th. We took the lamb on the 10th. And we circumcised ourselves on the 10th. And we left 5 days later.
5 days later.
We left on the 15th of Nisan.
Right.
Now, where's there an allusion in the written Torah? Doesn't seem to be any reference to the Dam Mila,
Yeah.
right? Why should that event not be written in Farish in the Chumash? So the Baal Turim points out that it is, because, look at page 198. So on the 10th of Nisan, God told him, go to Machne Yehuda, go to the Cairo Shuk, and what? Buy a lemala.
Yeah.
Right? Look at page 198, Pasuk Chav Ches.
They don't have lamb here.
Says Vayelchu Vayasu Bnei Yisrael Kashetziva Hashem et Moshe va'Aaron Keinosu. See, the Baal Turim says, isn't that being redundant? It says they did and they did. Well, if they did, then they did. Why does it say in Pasuk Chav Ches on 198? This is on the 10th of Nisan. God says, go and buy a lamb. Go to the Cairo Shuk and buy a lamb. So it says Vayasu, and then it says Keinosu. So the Baal Turim says, this is a reference to what? 2 separate doing. They did buying the lemala. And they also did, and that's a separate issue. But it says they did twice. Vayelchu, that's the schar alicha they get. But why do you say Vayasu v'asu? See, bothering Baal Turim says Vayasu they did, and Cain also they did. So it's referring to two separate doings. It's referring to purchasing the land, they did that, and it's referring to what? Brit Milah.
How could they live?
Brit Milah, they circumcised themselves on the 10th.
But they're having relations all this time in Egypt without bris milah.
They neglected it. Ooh. Only Shevet Levi kept it, to our disgrace. His tribe, you guys' tribe, the other Yidden neglected Brit Milah. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
The Levites, they did not neglect
I cannot
it.
imagine that.
How low? Well, you're Memtesh Sharei Tumah. When Grandpa Jacob died, they stopped doing Brit Milah, except Levi. When Grandpa Jacob died, when Yaakov Avinu died, they stopped doing Brit Milah. Huh? He's dead now. Let's.
Must be the same tribe. About the same height.
Okay.
But I saw a picture in the museum
Yeah.
that when Joseph came to Egypt,
Yeah.
the Egyptians were doing Brit Milah.
He got them to do it. Rashi says
So why would that?
Yosef introduced Brit Milah to the Egyptians. The question is why. Rashi says
I know why. So that his brothers and family wouldn't be embarrassed.
exactly. Beautiful.
But
Yosef introduced Brit Milah to them because they kept while Grandpa was alive. They kept Brit Milah.
so then the new pharaoh also outruled the
I guess.
Egyptians.
Yeah. Maybe that's one of the reasons they hated the Jews. That
But
the
the
Jews
Muslims-
introduced that custom to
But how
them
did the Muslims get it back again?
because the Rambam says that the Yishmael is Zera Avraham.
Oh, yeah.
And the Ishmaelites have to do bris milah.
Yeah, they have to do
The Rambam's opinion is that the Arabs have to do brit milah because they're also called the seed of Abraham. For them, it's an 8th commandment.
13 years.
It doesn't say 13.
That's what they do.
That's the Fruma Arabs. But
For them, they thought that Abraham brought Ishmael to be sacrificed.
yeah, but the Rambam's opinion is that for the Ishmaelim to do bris milah is a mitzvah. In fact, Rabbi Schultz trained to be a moyel by doing the Arab babies. Yeah, Rabbi Schultz. That's what he learned.
You figure you make the mistake
So
on them.
And we cut off too much. We cut off too much, what?
So there was no.
Good luck. What?
There's no reason from the time when Yaakov died.
When Yaakov died, they neglected bris milah. Only Shevi Levi didn't.
Yeah, that's what way.
Until the 10th of Nisan. Until 5 days before the Exodus. Zay Gezun, thank you. Be well.
10th of Nisan.
When did they leave Egypt? The 15th of Nisan. So Rashi tells us that 5 days before, God commanded them on the 10th of Nisan 2 things. Go buy the lemela, and oh, by the way, make Brit Milah. Therefore it says, Vayasu Keinosu. Vayasu Keinosu, 2 specific acts. Okay? Interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, good. So you look at Pasuk Lamed, Avram. See Pasuk Lamed, 198, Pasuk Lamed. Vayokam paroi laila,
Yeah, Vayakampa.
hu v'chol avadav, v'chol Mitzrayim, v'hi tza'aka gedola b'Mitzrayim, ki ein bayit ata ein sham met.
What page was it?
198 Lamed. There is no house but wasn't a dead guy there. So Rashi's puzzled because God only said the firstborn would die. Let's say there was no firstborn in the house. So how could it say ki ein bayis hasha ein sham met? Let's say there were no kids in the house. You hear what's bothering Rashi, Rabbi Yaakov?
Maybe the ball is.
Look at Rashi.
You said it yesterday.
Yeah, but I want to show it to you inside the Rashi. Ki ein bayis hasha ein sham met. You want to read that, Rabbi Yaakov? Read the Rashi. On the left side, you have it? Ki ein bayis hasha ein sham met. Met. If there was a firstborn, he would die. Ein sham bechor. Let's say just an old couple living there. Godol shababayis kor bechor. Yiddish Avram. Even an old couple that had no kids, then the elder of the old couple, he's called a bechor, and he would what?
Will die.
He would die. So every house had at least one dead. Dover acher. Rashi brings another interpretation. See that? Dover acher. Next word says Tilim in parentheses. You see?
Davar acher.
Davar acher. Mitzvahs mezanois tachas baleim. Yes, Avram. The Mitzvah ladies were notoriously promiscuous. You have it?
Yeah.
The Yoldot meravakim pnuyim, and they would give birth from many different lovers.
Right.
The milkman, the butcher, and the candlestick maker, and the traveling salesman, David. So they had many lovers. You see, Rashi says, V'hoy lehem bechorot harbe, and they had many firstborn. Why?
Yeah.
Pa'amim chamisha lisha achas. Sometimes one lady had what? 5 lovers. Pretty busy. The husband must have been traveling. Avram. Pa'amim hem chamisha lisha achas. Sometimes one woman had 5 firstborns. Kol echad b'chor la'aviv. Each one was a firstborn to what?
To another man.
To another man. So therefore,
She had
But
5.
isn't
the husband was very surprised. You know, he.
the firstborn, the one that opens the womb?
No, that's halachically. But here Rashi is extending the definition. If there was no firstborn, then the elder of the two would die, husband or wife. And even if there was a firstborn, but the woman had many different lovers, and each one was a firstborn to the other lover, so there would be multiple deaths in the house, right? And
Including the wife.
what? Yeah. Right. Rashi makes a strange comment. Look at 198 Pasuk Lamed. It says Vayokam Paroi Laila. You see the text? You don't, Avram. 198 Vayokam Paroi Laila. Paroi gets up at night.
The pyjama.
Rashi makes a strange comment. Look at Rashi Lamed. Vayokam Paroi. What does Rashi say?
Mitato from his bed. Oh.
What's bothering Rashi? I know the king doesn't sleep in a barn. I mean, what does Rashi have to add? Mimitoso. Here? Share Rashi. I know you agree with me? Rashi Lamed, Vayokam Paroi. Rashi says Mimitoso. Well, thank you very much, Rabbi Yaakov. Where do you think a king sleeps?
Yeah.
On a hammock? What does Rashi have to add that what?
He was with his wife.
So who cares? Paroi got up from his bed. Rashi's pointing out something amazing. Moshe Rabbeinu is batting 1,000. 9 out of 9, Avram, he's been right. He called so far 9 makkos, predicted, foretold, exactly down to the T. Now you predict it. Remember, Pharaoh was the firstborn himself. And he had a firstborn.
But he didn't die.
Right. But he didn't know that. So you might think, listen, Moses has been right 9 out of 9. He predicted tonight you and your kid will be dead.
Not from the bed.
Well, but he would at least be, when they had 9/11, President Bush went to a secret mountaintop hiding place. Did you know that? Avra Berkowitz, the federal government was whisked away out of the White House. You don't know this after 9/11? And they were deposited in some secret mountain in Nevada. Did you know that? So you would think Pharaoh would take his cabinet. Moses would write 9 out of 9, no? And now he called tonight, you and your kid will be dead. So where would Pharaoh be? In some secret hiding place with George Bush there in the mountains over there. Hiding somewhere. No, he put on his pajamas and he went to sleep in the bed like a normal night. Look at the Russia.
Russia, yeah.
So verbissen. How do you say verbissen? Moses, 9 out of 9. He didn't take any extra precautions. It was like a regular night for him. He put on his PJs, chutzpah, rishis, and he went to shluff in the mitah. That's what Rashi wants to point out. A person can become such an evil personification of evil where he just totally ignores even his own safety. As Hitler and the Nazis, they didn't have enough bullets for their army in Stalingrad, so they used the bullets to Einsatzgruppen. You got to read this, Avram Berkowitz. His soldiers in Stalingrad, the siege, didn't have enough bullets. Because the bullets were being used by the Einsatzgruppen to shoot down Yiddish Kinder. So that's more important. And his own soldiers have no ammunition. But no, the ammunition had to be used to shoot women and children. This is a fact. This is the evil.
How do you write
What?
How do we write mita? That means death.
Oh, mita, death. Mem yud taf hey.
So you cannot assume mita.
No, mita with a tes means a battle.
Warnings.
With a tet means a bed. With a tough means death. Completely different word. Mita with a tet means a bed.
Bad, right.
Mita with a tough means death.
That all.
Make it dead.
No, because sometimes they say don't read like this, but read like that. So maybe he.
He got up from his bed. That Rashi wants to point out what kind of a Russia he was. Totally evil. Pharaoh. They say Ramesses II, right? They have his mummy in England, in the British Museum of Ramesses II. They say he is the Pharaoh of the Exodus, and they have his mummy unwrapped. I saw a picture of it, an ugly dude. I mean, you can still make out the face. The mummy, Okay. Anyway, so, yeah. Interesting.
Who was it? Yul Brenner?
Yeah, he prayed Ramesses. Yul Brenner, yeah, he was pretty good at that, yeah.
Is that Hashverosh his Gilgul?
Is Achashverosh his Gilgal? Why?
I think
No, the Medrash says that Yonah went to Nineveh. Why did the king take the message so seriously? Maybe he's just a fanatic Jew hallucinating. Why did he take the message to heart? The king of Nineveh, a low-life pagan cutthroat. Why was he so moved by Yonah's message? So the Medrash says that he was a Gilgal of Paroi. Ooh, Avram Yiddish. So he knew that God, what? The Navi Hashem is not to be ignored. So he took the message and he did tshuva. Remember? Nineveh, Yonah?
Yeah.
Because the Medrash says that he was a Gilgal of Paroi, Avram. Just a few centuries later, right?
Yeah, and even to put sackcloth on.
Yeah, put on sackcloth and he told everybody to...
Everybody did it.
Right, to do tshuva. Uh-huh. What moved him so much? So he was a reincarnation of Paro. Pharaoh. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bachos Canaan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the purpose of putting on tefillin every morning, Rabbi Yaakov, you have this in mind, page 201. Why do you put on tefillin every morning? Look at 201, it tells you why. See, 201 pasuk tet, the first of the wide lines, or the second? It should be for a sign on your arm, and for a memorial between your eyes, that the Torah of God should be in your mouth, with a powerful hand, that God, what? Take you out of Egypt. So the purpose of wearing tefillin, Abraham, it's a tangible symbol of what? Of the Exodus. Did you know that? That's what it says. That God took us out with a powerful hand. How do you know you're supposed to put tefillin on your left hand? Look at Rashi Tet. You see Rashi Tet?
Yeah, here. Yeah.
The tefillin is a tangible sign of what? Of the Exodus. You know that? The tefillin is a tangible sign of the Exodus. On your arm and a memorial between your eyes, you have to write down these 4 parshas. And tie them what? On the head tefillin and the arm tefillin. Al yatcha, which hand? Al yat small, Avram. Well, how do we know yat small? You see that, Rabbi Yaakov Meir? See, it said, well, how do you know on the left hand? Lefikach yatka. Because later on it's written yatka. That's a strange word. It should have said yatcha. It said yatka. Mole, beparsha shniya. What is yatka? Avraham, it's an acronym.
Oh.
Yat Keha, the weaker hand. See, the word Yatka is written strange. Never written like that. You see? It's written with an extra Yud, Avraham. Yatka is written with an extra Yud. It should be on your arm, on your hand. Why is there an extra Yud? It should have said Yatka, Yud Dalet Kaf. Why is it written Yud Dalet Kaf Hey? Mole v'parsha shniya, lidrash b'yad shehi keya. The tefillin has to be put on the weaker hand. So for most people, the weaker hand is what?
Left.
The left hand.
Unless you're left-handed.
If you're a left-hander, you put it what? Well, you're left-handed? So now you know why. See? There's an extra hey. You see? Rashi points out on page 202, Pasuk Tel Zayin, Voil Osa Yotka. There's an extra hey there. 202, Pasuk Tel Zayin, there's an extra hey there.
Wow.
It shall be La'ol Sal Yotka. That's not the way you spell it. The hey seems to be superfluous. So Rashi says Yotka is, you know what acronym means? FBI?
Oh, that's interesting.
CIA. Yatka, your weaker hand. Isn't that beautiful? How the oral Torah works in tandem with what? With the written Torah. You have it. Wow.
Oh, that's interesting. Yesterday night.
Your weaker hand. Oh, Yat Smalit, which is weaker than the right hand. And if you're a lefty, then your weaker hand is what?
The other side, yeah.
I missed the part of why the weaker hand.
I didn't get to it, but you must have ESP. Because I'm just about to say why the weaker hand. Avram Berkowitz, David Goodman asked Ksav Soifer's question. So why Taka the weaker hand?
Yeah, with the stronger
What?
hand,
What?
With the stronger hand, you make the action. The right side normally stronger. With the stronger, you make the
Said
action.
Ksav Soifer, the Torah is teaching you.
Yeah.
You need your stronger hand to work.
Yeah.
You have to work for a living. So the tefillin is put on the weaker hand. Not to interfere with your work. They used to wear tefillin all day, Avraham. You know Ksav Soifer? To answer David Goodman's kasha. It has to be the weaker hand. Because the stronger hand you need free. You have to work. Provide a pranusa. He was a Haredi, I think, wasn't he? Ksav Sofer. Oh yeah, wow, what a powerful message. So therefore the Torah says, not to interfere with your what?
Yeah, you
With your work, you have to have the stronger hand free to work. And the weaker hand, you have the tefillin on. In the old days, they would wear all day tefillin. His son, Ksav Sofer.
You have to take
Ksav
it off.
Sofer.
You have to take it off at night.
At night. But some Yidden today still wear it all day.
No.
But in the old days, a lot of Yidden wore it all day. In the middle of work. But you need to free your right hand because you have to work. What amazing. We're not on that level, Avram, right? But in the old days, they used to wear it all day. David, right? You just wore it, I saw. Now you know why it's the weaker hand.
There is
What?
There was in Daf Yomi, we had a footnote.
That one?
A footnote, what you do when the tefillin move around, you make another bracha to put them back to place.
Yeah, well, if you have Hesach Hadas,
There was a very interesting 46 footnote.
if you have to go to the toilet and you take off your talis and tefillin, Abraham,
Depends what your intention is.
do you make a bracha again? What?
No.
On the tefillin, you make a bracha again. On the talis, you don't.
You don't, yeah.
It's a far input on tefillin.
Go ahead. They only make one bracha, right?
One bracha on the Shaggai, and that's it.
Right. And we make
Unless
two.
somebody interrupts you.
Right, then they make two. Okay. But anyway, I'm telling you, a guy has to go to the toilet. He takes off his tefillin, Avraham, right? And his talis, and he comes back. On the tefillin, he makes a bracha again, but not on the talis. I want to know why. Rav Soloveitchik Zatzal explains why. You're not allowed to wear tefillin in the toilet.
Yeah.
And the talus is
1 minute. You're not allowed to wear tefillin in the toilet. So automatically, when you take them off, it's a hesach hadas. Because there's no way you can wear. You're not allowed to wear them in the toilet.
Yeah.
So taking him off is automatically interruption, whatever you're thinking. But a talus you can wear in the toilet. We don't. But halachically, you can wear a talus. You know where you learn you can wear a talus in the toilet, Avram? We think Tanakh is a history book. Tanakh is not stories. It says Shaul HaMelech went into the cave to relieve himself, and King David cut off a part of his talus. That's what it says. Tanakh is a history book. I need to know that King David, Saul went to the toilet, and David snuck up on him, and he cut off a piece of his talus. Tanakh is not a history book. No. He went to the can. I think a New York Times with him. That's another incident. David Goodman, that's another incident. That's when he's sleeping, that he stole his spear when he was sleeping. But here, he just went to the toilet with a magazine or whatever. I don't know what you do in the toilet. And he snuck up and he cut off a corner of his talus. So why? Tell me he cut off a corner of his talus, says the Mefarshim. Why? Why?
That it's permitted,
to wear a talus in the toilet. Yeah. Tanakh is not a history book, it's halakha. From here you learn out, Shaul HaMelech was an Orthodox king.
Yeah, the small talit.
Whatever it is, that you're allowed to wear a talus in the toilet. We don't. But halachically you're allowed to. Hello? So therefore, Avraham, since you're permitted to wear a talus in the toilet, halachically, so therefore there's no hesech hadas. Even though you take it off, it's like you didn't take it off because you're allowed to wear it there. So therefore, there's no bracha on the talus after the toilet, but there's a bracha what? Tefillin. Isn't that beautiful? How you learn from what? From stories in Tanakh, Avram, you learn what? Halakha. Nachon?
Yeah.
Right?
So I found here the footnote.
Yeah.
There's an opinion to say, now when the tefillin slip from their proper place, it is though they have been removed. So that means when you put them back in the right place, you have to make a new bracha. That's one opinion. Huh?
Yeah, but we don't pass that. We pass only when you take it off.
Take it off, yeah.
Right. See, Sfardim only make one bracha on both tefillin. That's a machlokis, Rabbeinu Tam, and the Rambam, Avram Berkowitz. There are more paskin like Rabbeinu Tam. That what? That the tefillin shal rosh and tefillin shal yad are what? Two separate mitzvahs.
Yeah.
They're two separate mitzvahs. So if they're two separate mitzvahs, then what? Then what?
Two brachas.
Two brachas.
Yeah.
But the Rambam paskins that what? It's one mitzvah.
One mitzvah.
So if it's one mitzvah, what?
It's only one bracha. So
that's the machlokas. Rabbeinu Tam and the Rambam.
So why
we follow the Rabbeinu Tam. Logically, it looks like it's two mitzvahs, no?
Yeah.
Let's say a person only has one tefillin. Or lo yaleinu, he doesn't have an arm. Lo yaleinu.
Yeah.
He still has to put on the head tefillin.
Yeah.
Right? Even the Rambam would admit that he would still have to put on the head tefillin. But yet he considers it one mitzvah, so one bracha.
Yeah, one bracha.
Right?
So why we say Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed?
Because we want to cover ourselves.
Yeah, maybe
the Rambam is right. We say Baruch Shem Kavod Avram because maybe the Rambam is right that you only make one bracha. So we say Baruch Shem Kavod. When we make the second bracha, that's when we make a bracha. When you don't have to, you say Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Olam Vaed. So perhaps Rambam is right, and what? Only one. So we right away say after the second bracha we say Baruch Shem Kavod.
Sephardi they say only le'aniach.
That's right. Lo haniach tefillin. That's right. That's all. Because the Rambam Shit is it's one mitzvah, one bracha. Rabbeinu Tam is very logical, don't know? I mean, if you only have one tefillin, you're not going to put it on. You only have the rosh.
Yeah.
You only have the yad. You're not going to put it on. If it's only one mitzvah, why put it on? And you still put it on. Even Rambam would admit you put it on. A person only has one tefillin. He's not going to put it on. Just because he doesn't have the rosh, he won't put on the yad. Still has to put it on, right? You do what you can, right?
Do what you can.
Uh-huh. Interesting. But women are not allowed to wear tefillin, Avraham, because the Targum Yonos said it's cross-dressing. There's a law in the Torah that women are not allowed to wear men's article of clothing. So the Targum Yonatan says that talis and tefillin is considered men's article of clothing. So women wear them, they're cross-dressing. It's allowed in the Torah.
The daughters of Rashi, they didn't.
I don't know. I wasn't around then. I don't know. But this is
So the women off the wall.
the women off the wall. They don't know. They're doing a mistake, Avram, right? They're doing a mistake that they should not be wearing towels and tefillin because it's an union of cross-dressing, which it's a men's article of clothing, and therefore women should not
So the woman
should not wear it, right?
The women in the Israeli army shouldn't have a weapon.
Well, that's Pekuach Nefesh.
That goes into
That's
that.
Pekuach Nefesh, right? You're right. A gun is a men's article of clothing, but it's Pekuach Nefesh. Pekuach Nefesh doche kol Torah kula, no? Pekuach Nefesh pushes away the entire Torah, right?